Just start. All right.
Okay, great.
Hello everyone. We really want to apologize for the glitch. Sincere apologies. We had some a little glitch, and also apologies to our guest speaker, Mrs. Ibuko. Sincere apologize.
That's fine.
All right. So we'll move right into the next question. So Mrs. Ibuko, we'd like to know you helped quite a lot of women, thousands of women in financial literacy. So we'd like to know what are the key financial habits you would advise every woman should have? What are like the must have financial habits that every woman should have?
Hmm. Now that's an interesting question. um. So one of the things we do at Teal Tree is Women of Wealth, and it's a spin-off of my experience teaching financial literacy at different interventions, particularly from the bank. So with banking, when they want you to when one of the strategies we use, right, to actually get more women into our books was to take them through financial literacy, right? Particularly to understand how why they need a credit history, why they why they should take their business seriously, right? And all of that before providing funding for them, right? Because we feel when you set an expectation or you have an understanding of why you are getting something, it makes you somewhat more focused. And I realized that as I was doing those trainings, I had women calling me, thanking me, and I didn't understand, thanking me for so many things that they didn't really, um, and that I didn't really consider as anything, but those were things that affected their financial knowledge, right? So by the time I started T3, it was inevitable for me not to do financial education. Now, financial education from a psychosocial aspect, right? Because if everything is not okay here mentally and you want to start spending money, I don't think it's quite right? Because the way we were all brought up, it's different. Some people were brought up well and given the right mentality and orientation about money. Some people feel money is just everything, right? And so I realized that rather than teach how to save, spend, credit, and all of that immediately, it starts with the money mindset, teaching a bit about the psychosocial aspect. And I was so clear about it because I mean, I've seen projects today where that psychosocial analysis is being done for women before they actually access funds. Because if you don't do it, what happens is you grant people money and then they spend it anyhow. So I'll say, based on that, some of the top three things I would say that a woman should learn, first of all, would be what is your mindset or what is your money story? That's what I call it. What is your money story? Um, a money story is basically what were you brought up with? What were you told about money while you were growing up? That you have imbibed. Um, it could be negative, it could be positive. So it's kind of like going through what have I learned that about money that is right? What have I learned about money that is wrong? What is serving me? What is not serving me? And working on that. So I would say first of all, it's knowing your money story. That's number one. Two, it's understanding that money is a tool. Money is not everything. Money is just something for you to use to get something else. And it's not the most important thing. There are five levels of wealth, right? Money is the least of those levels of wealth. There's social capital, there's health, there's exposure and knowledge, which is really key. I mean, a lot of the opportunities I got, especially international opportunities, was because of the exposure, the knowledge, and some of the things that I have done. And those things helped me to increase my income, increase my influence, increase my impact, right? There's also values, right? Because I've known people who have accessed amazing opportunities because of their values, because they were respectful, because they were diligent, because some people, you just know that their work ethics is great, and you're like, this person deserves an opportunity, right? And then we can now come to money. So it's really understanding the other levels of wealth that is available to you beyond money, but that can also translate into money for you. So it's not, I would say, starting from those three first, doing a mindset check and recheck on what have I internalized about money that is serving me or is not serving me, right? Understanding that money is a tool and it is supposed to serve a purpose. So, what purpose do I want it to serve? And then number three, understanding the different levels of wealth and at what point you are. Then you can start to make um, plans on, this is what I need to be doing. I need to be saving. This is what I need to be doing. I need to build emergency funds. This is what I need to be doing. I need to just survive. This is what I need to be doing. I want exposure or more um, 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 getaway opportunities, which in itself is education and not necessarily soft life per se, right? So it's a whole lot of work. I'll stop there, but I'll put out an invite that if you would want to know more and work on your money mindset, please, when we put out the call for the next Women of Wealth, by all means, please get on board.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. I'm sure our audience are really, really excited. You've mentioned it's really important to have the right mindset, have the right mindset for wealth acquisition and being financially stable, and then it also helps you. And then understanding the different levels of wealth, which you mentioned, is very, very critical in being financially empowered. Right. So I think we would like to also know, right? I'm sure there are a lot of other persons that might be listening to us that would like to also, do some of the things you're doing, especially with regards to gender equality and gender advocacy. Right. So, what would you advise? What advice are you going to give to someone who would like to venture into this? You mentioned that currently that you have just, I think you mentioned like three persons that are into gender consulting, right? So that must really, really be a very unique field, right? How would you advise someone that would like to pursue a career in this path? How would the person navigate it?
Fantastic question. And then let me correct. I said I've seen only two other companies, right, who are running gender consulting firms, right? It's not like there
Okay.
aren't other people who are doing gender, right? They are doing it, but they might not be running it as a full time gender consulting firm.
Mhm.
Maybe they might have an aspect of the company that is actually, doing gender because, hey, everybody's doing gender, we have to do it. I would say, yeah, first of all, is to get training. Gender is very broad, it's very wide. There's gender in climate, there's gender in finance. Mine is basically my forte has really been on from gender finance, right? And then into gender and social inclusion. And I'm also trying to layer a bit of climate around that because I mean I don't think anybody can contest or deny that the impact of the climate in the last few days has been really really it's been a lot for us even here in Nigeria. So there are different aspects, right? There's gender in terms of gender-based violence. There's gender in terms of agri, climate, resilient programs, and the likes. There's gender and social inclusion when it comes to even children. So gender is actually very broad. So you want to look at a niche that you will get into. Like I mentioned, I started from finance because I started with gender banking in finance, right? um, and from doing finance, because I do diversity and equity as well, I got into a bit of social, gender and social inclusion. So I would say first of all is to kind of look all through in the aspect of gender to see which one would you like to do, right? and then to get learnings, to train as much as possible. I had trainings with Digital Frontier South Africa. I had also had some trainings in terms of product development for women from Women's World Banking. Um, Kudos to, I mean, courtesy of a bank. And then I've done so many. There's training at Obafemi Awolowo University. There's one of the certifications that I'm about to do, and I do that regularly. I don't sit down saying, "Oh, I've done this training and then I don't need it anymore," because gender is also, as much as it's novel, not extremely very novel, it's still a growing field, right? And so different things come up at different times. So you want to be able to stay up to date in terms of best practices and in terms of trends and principles and frameworks that are being used, right? So I know Obafemi Awolowo University is having a program soon in April, right? You may want to look them up. It's called Gender and Social Development course, right? I have enrolled for that. I know the Policy Innovation Center in Abuja also runs courses. They've already done one for this year. I think they should do another one, probably maybe um, mid-year again or into early next year and all of that. So there are places that you can learn about that and get certified, and then look for opportunities to work. There's a lot of call for gender work right there, right now. I think a great way to learn more about it is to actually get into the project. But before getting into the project, it helps when you've done some of those courses. You know some of the frameworks, you know some of the tools that are available, right? Because there are lots of tools. That you're going to be checking indicators. You're going to be doing a lot of monitoring and evaluation and assessment. You're going to be using indicators that make sense. There's also going to be a lot of measurements. You're going to be looking at changes, behavioral sciences in people, how you are influencing and impacting them. You're also going to be doing a lot of capacity development. So I'm also a certified IFC TMPA trainer, and TMPA is um, the IFC TMPA certification is really a certification that teaches you, that helps you to be a more proficient adult trainer. And there's also an aspect on gender training that they also take you, so that when you're doing all of those trainings for women, there's sometimes you should bear in mind and you're able to do. But more importantly, is the ability to actually develop solutions that work. I see quite a number of people who say, "Oh, I do gender," but what are some of the solutions that you've done? How has it helped organizations, or how has it helped the project that you're working on? So, in terms of what Teal Tree does, we are a gender consulting firm that helps you embed a gender lens in your projects, in your process, in your policies, in your um, products, right? Because we are also very trained in product development, gender sensitive product development. And so all of those aspects, it depends on what area you're looking at focusing on, and where you can build on some more. So I started, like I mentioned now, from finance, and also had to do a lot with organizations. So I our strongest point is really from gender finance um, to organizations, where we provide solutions for organizations. We train um, in different aspects depending on the project. But some of our biggest trainings is on sexual harassment in the workplace, and it's not just about a training. It's a whole um, how do I say it now? It's a whole bouquet that involves how is it reported in the organization, how is it investigated, how is it mediated, how is it managed, right? If somebody complains about that, who should, where, how do they complain? How, what's the complaint trail about? Do you have best practices in place in terms of the third party where people can, also lay their complaints anonymously and all of that? So, and all of these things takes time, right? It's not a walk in the park of, yeah, I can do this and all of that. And it's from doing that that you learn the best practices that you can advocate for. So because we have done some of these things and we have tangible results to show for it, we can easily say we've tried this in this place, we've seen it work, and so we advocate for you to be able to do this, or we can let you know that, oh, women or men do not know this, and this is what we advocate that you should do. So oftentimes when we say sexual harassment, most people just think about women being harassed. But the truth of the matter is men too are being harassed in the organizations. So it goes both ways. So how do you ensure that everybody, can actually find justice, can actually find means in which they can complain and do all of that, right? And the organization actually listens to them. Again, because it's a sensitive issue, a lot of organizations don't want to get it. They don't even know how to go about it, and they rather keep quiet and like, we don't want issue, so let's just carry on this way. But it just necessary. It's not. It could be that issue that will lead to a problem tomorrow. So I'd say the different aspect, there's gender mainstreaming as well. There's gender inclusive recruitment, career progression, and all, and that is an even niched part of HR, and we're also very proficient in and all, and a whole lot more. So I would say, first of all, look for where to certify, then look for where to serve, look for where you can, bring your skills to learn more, to do more. Look for opportunities to collaborate with people. Like, I see you do this. Can I join you on this? Can I volunteer here? Oh, I have the skills. I can do this and all of that. And as you continue to do that, you build more proficiency. You build more capacity. You get into bigger projects, and yeah, you would also be able to land some really good roles as well.
All right, thank you very much for that. That was really a very interesting one. I'm sure you've gotten quite a lot of knowledge on how to pursue a career in this path, ensuring that we have the right resources, we get satisfied, we try to also look for where to work and improve, sharpen our skills in this particular area. Thank you very much for that. So initially you mentioned something around building networks, right? And the importance of having support system around having networks, and how young people, young women can leverage on that. So I would like to know, what would you like? How would young women be able to, use this network, maybe within their community or people that they look up to? How would they be able to, build this network? And also, if there are existing support networks that you could also recommend for young women who would like to grow their career, right, who like to pursue a particular career path, how would they be able to join one or two of this network, the existing network? How does this network help them to become a better version of themselves, right? So these are some of the things we like to learn.
I think that's a really good question. So the hmm, okay, networking can be it can be very, very tricky. So you have to be very you have to be very strategic about it. And I think everybody, we all already belong to one or two or three more networks. It's just that you haven't really identified it. So your networks are really the people around you that you can actually, you get opportunities from, get support from, and all of that. And sometimes it can be likened as a support system, but not in every case, right? So I would say, first of all, it would be your family, right? Do your family know what you do? Do your family know what you're interested in, and all of that, right? And then it would be your circle of friends. How well are you doing your circle of friends? How many people know what you're up to? And these are things that I myself have had to improve on over the years. And even just last week, I was thinking like, how many people really know what you're into right now, and all of that. And I started to think of, how do I put myself in front of people's faces such that if there are opportunities, they can think of me first. And that's actually why you need to also invest in your network, right? So, and I can do that because it's not just that I'm showing up in people's faces and like, hey, this is where I am. It's because I follow up with people from time to time. I send messages randomly. Oh, how are you doing today? Or with the state of the country, how are you feeling? Do not get overwhelmed and all of that. And sometimes we're not very deliberate about this. We're doing that with the people within your network because it starts from that. And then people start to ask you, hey, what's up? What are you even into? And then you can now let them know, oh, right now I'm job hunting, I'm looking at this opportunity, or I am looking for opportunities like this. Some of us have not even articulated what kind of opportunities we are looking for. Like right now, what are you looking for? Right? And then to sit down and say, where do I get these opportunities? Right? And so it really helps that you are able to follow up with the people in your immediate network or connection first, because really there's gold in your network, you just don't know. And anything, I believe strongly that if God wants to do anything, it's with the people around you. He won't just send you 5 million just like that. You will get information from the people around you. So that's one. Two, there are other networks in the office. Who are the people you're working with in the office? Do they have access to opportunities? Do they know things you don't know? Who should you be friends with? Who do you like their style of working, right? And I'm not saying that you should go and be bootlicking or all of that, but who do you admire in the office that works well in a way that gets results, right? How can you learn from that person? That's also building network. So I feel like being intentional about that is the first starting point. And when you worked with that, then you can now move on to the larger network. Because if you don't build this first and you move on to the larger networks, I can assure you that you will get into those networks and nobody will hear your voice. You will just be in those networks and nothing will happen. So when you've cultivated that well, then you can now get into the bigger networks. So a good one. I'm in Wimbys currently. I'm even an advocacy member in one of the groups on Wimbys, right? And it's helping me to meet more people, to reach out to more people. It's helping me to know um, how people's influences, what they can do, how I can bring my experience to a lot of the things that are happening there. That's one. I'm in Niger Startups Network. That's a network for entrepreneurs, and some of these networks you pay money to get into it, right? And that's why I'm saying start from what you have with your friends, your family, your network in the office or even in the church, right? And I'll go back to the church more later. So Niger Startup is one other great network where I get amazing access to opportunities and the likes. I'm currently running a fellowship right now in climate, and it was from Niger Network. I heard about it. Um, um, I was accepted into another fellowship recently, and it was from a friend who knows what I do that sent it to me. I got a scholarship recently from the World Intellectual Property Organization, and it was because I had done a course with them last year where I did extremely well. Now, where did I hear about that course? It was from the Wimbys, I think it was the Wimbys network or some other network, right? So you want to be able to use this network well. I'm also in the Yemi Fashion network, right? And so you have to be very it's not just about going into events, hey, meet this person, meet this person, meet that person. Sometimes it doesn't work that way if you don't have a strategy. And I'm not saying don't meet people, but don't meet people from the aspect of, hey, I just want to get this from this person. Meet people to know them and build it gradually. Currently, for the past 3 years, I've been working with one of the most renowned and reputed richest woman in Africa, right? I've been working with her foundation to do some things. But how did I get to know that? It was from someone who I had worked with, who had seen my my work ethics and all, and who was in my network, and who was seeing constantly the things I was putting out with my newsletters and all of that. And so when that opportunity came, she put it up and was like, this lady has to be on top of this. She has to get onto this opportunity. And for the last 3 years, I've been working with them, right? So it really has to do with how do how do you put out word about yourself? How do you look out for the people that are in your network? How do you reach out consistently? And one of the great ways to do that is to have, I have a day during the week that I reach out to people. Hey, what's up? I just thought about you. What's going on? I just thought to check up on you. It goes a long way when someone hears from you and like, they just want to know how you're doing. That touches you deeply, right? And I try to do it every week. I know there are times you might skip it, and there are times that things get hectic and you're not, but I'm constantly in people's faces. So I will not just show up like, I need this, or I will see that I have chatted with this person recently or something. So you want to be intentional about keeping in touch with the people around you. And I think a lot of tools have made it easy for us, from WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp enough is okay for you to type a message and you can broadcast, have a broadcast list and put it out there, and to genuinely mean it. It's not like, oh, I'm just doing it out of, no, I am someone who, this is who I am generally, where people just reach out to me. And Onyinye does that, right? She's constantly sending me messages every new month. Happy new month, man. This is this. Keeping in touch, keeping in touch. I feel like Onyinye is like the perfect person that can actually even teach you folks this, because she's constantly messaging me. So it's not, when she reached out for this, it wasn't like, hey, I've not reached out to her since I met her. We met at the Flourish Africa program, right? Yeah, I believe so. That was 2 years ago. So by the time she was ready to ask, like, please, ma, I need you to come on this side, it wasn't like she was just coming like, hey, what would I say to her now? She had been in my DM, she had been reaching out, genuinely concerned, how are you this month, ma, and everything and all of that. And so those are the things you want to be very, very intentional about. It's not too much about joining the big networks if you don't have the strategy or something that you are already working with, and then you can build on by the time you get into the big networks. So I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much.
Sorry, and the
It's
last thing is, in church,
yeah.
please make yourself friendly. Let people know what you're doing. And if there are opportunities to serve, there are groups and all of that, please join. In my church, we do something called community networks, right? Where they say, don't do life alone. Join those networks. I served on one of those networks for almost, was it 3 years or 2 years, thereabouts, right? For 3 years, where I served them, people, in fact, I guess on some groups, and I'm talking, and someone's like, I know you led us on this network, and I'm like, oh my god, and all of that, so I would say, please leverage the people around you well, look to serve, and I believe it's a great way that would open more opportunities for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma. You mentioned quite a lot. Talked about being intentional about it, being intentional about building your network, have a strategy. And I think one particular point that struck me was showing concern, like genuine concern, when you've sown into people's emotional bank. It's easier for them to relate, right? Not just come out of you and just make a request. But over time, it's those little good morning, it's those little how are you, it's those little happy new year and all. Okay, thank you very much. It's really been an amazing session. Okay, so I think just we'll just do a wrap up. Just like to hear a final word of advice from you to our community and to everyone that is listening to you now. What will be the final word of advice or counsel that you like to give to everyone listening to you that are that would like to pursue one career path or the other, especially as it concerns to gender equality and building a very strong network and confidence in their career path. Thank you.
um I would say everybody on their career journey have different paths, right? And Edith's path will not be my own path. Some parts may be more clear, some parts may be, you know, spiraled and all. So first of all, it's a journey, right? It's a journey, it's not a sprint. It's not that, hey, we're running this now and we're getting there. No. It's a journey, and along the journey there will be highs and lows, right? So for some people they may get it all straight on and it looks like everything is all working for them. For some people it's like this, it's like this. I'd say First of all, don't be too much in a hurry. Everything takes time. My entire career is going to 19 into 20 years right now. That's not a joke, right? So someone cannot just say, oh, I just want to be like Nancy Bukon overnight. No, it doesn't happen that way. You have to learn, you have to grow, and your path is totally different from mine. So I'd say embrace your journey as much as possible, no matter how difficult, no matter how if it's difficult, build resilience. If it's easy right now, be grateful and lift as you're rising, right? If it's not here, not there, it's okay. Clarify as you continue to grow, right? Like I said, our journeys are not the same. So please embrace whatever it is you're going through. Learn the lessons, because at the end of the day, it will all make sense. It will all add up, right? Do not compare anybody's journey with yours. Comparison is this, they say is a tip of joy, right? Please do not compare. It's easy to look on LinkedIn and people are putting in so many stories. Some of them are not true, some of them are true. Please be genuinely happy for people who are making success and all, but don't use that to relegate yourself like, oh, things are not going well for me and all of that. Our journeys, our times are all different. So have a focus on it. Learn if you have to learn, and keep being focused. The journey I'm on now has been like 5 years, particularly for Teal Tree. It started from somewhere, and if I was not focused, I wouldn't be here right now. Right? If I'd been looking at everybody like, oh, this person has made more progress than this person, people will make progress more than you at different times. You don't know which is real. You don't know those that are real. Be genuinely happy for them. Those that are not, just focus on your focus and forget about people. Don't get into people's businesses. Just have a strategy for your life and continue to grow. And like I said, it's a journey. It's okay to try something. If it doesn't work, then move on to the next one. Don't wallow too much in self pity. Like, hey, it ended up. Just pick up yourself, dust off the the debts, and just move on to, like, yeah, what's the next one. With careers, sometimes some people know that, yes, I am going to buy a blue dress, and this blue dress has to be like this, like this, like this, like this, like that, and they get it. Some people know it's not a dress, it's a pair of pantsuits, right? But I don't even know what this pantsuit would look like, but when I try it, I will know. So that kind of person will do a lot of trials, right? Before they eventually get like, this is the perfect fit. That's another person. Some people will say, oh, it's a gown, it's a pink gown, but I don't know whether it will be off shoulder or it's a, and that's why it's a journey for every single one of us. But as you go through it, embrace it, enjoy it, make sure that you are growing, you're adding value to yourself, your family, the people around you, and you're also adding value to the organization and the planet as a whole. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. It's been really, really wonderful having you here. We've learned quite a lot from you. Thanks for sharing your wealth of experience. We sincerely appreciate.
You're most welcome. You too.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's been 4 amazing Saturdays of Inspire Her series, and we've got to learn from quite a lot of trailblazers that have joined us here on this platform, from Ijoma Adesanya to Zainab Haruna, Larry Odufuwa, and today we have the pleasure of having Ibukun Omololu. Thank you so much. It's really been a wonderful time here. And for every woman, for every person out there watching this, for every woman, even if you're a man, just know that we are rooting for you, and really wish you a progressive career path. And just know that you should embrace your journey, embrace your experience, be focused, and believe in yourself. And trust me, you are going to achieve that which you aim to achieve. Thank you very much. And I remain Edith Storu, your moderator for today. Thank you, everyone.